Phylicia Rashad's emotional tribute at Malcolm-Jamal Warner's funeral took everyone by surprise. When Phylicia stood up, her voice trembling and her eyes filled with grief, the entire room fell silent. What she shared left the audience in tears and has had the internet buzzing ever since. This was a tribute no one was prepared for, shedding light on the deep, personal connection between these two beloved figures from The Cosby Show. Phylicia and Malcolm's bond transcended their on-screen roles as mother and son. Their relationship was one of mentorship, guidance, and love that went beyond the script. For years, fans admired their chemistry, but behind the scenes, Phylicia played a crucial role in Malcolm's life, both personally and professionally. As a young teen actor, Malcolm faced immense pressure, and it was Phylicia who kept him grounded. She would often take him aside during lunch breaks to walk around the set, discussing everything from school to avoiding Hollywood's pitfalls. In a 2016 interview, Malcolm himself admitted that if it weren't for Phylicia, he might have lost himself in the fame. However, the tragic truth about their relationship would not fully come to light until after Malcolm's passing. As Phylicia took the stage at the funeral, the weight of her words pierced through every heart in the room. But before that unforgettable moment, there was a phone call between them that Phylicia would never forget. Days before his passing, Malcolm called Phylicia. The conversation, according to family sources, was unlike any other. Malcolm, usually the strong and steady presence, sounded different that evening. His voice was calm, but there was an unspoken finality. He thanked her for always being there for him and told her, "I'm tired now, Mama P. I'm at peace." Phylicia, startled, immediately tried to contact him again, but she couldn't reach him. 2 days later, the news of Malcolm's death shocked the world. His passing was reported as a drowning incident, yet for Phylicia, the cause of death mattered less than the final conversation they shared. Phylicia still had a voicemail from Malcolm, a message left just days before his death. Sources close to the family say that this message was played privately at the funeral, and in it, Malcolm said something that moved everyone to tears. "If I leave this world tomorrow, I just want you to know your love made me a better man. You saved me." Fans never got to hear that message, but now, through whispers from the family, the world is starting to understand the depth of Phylicia and Malcolm's relationship. When Phylicia stood up at the funeral, her tribute was unexpected and deeply emotional. The room, filled with loved ones and fellow celebrities, fell into a hush. Dressed in a flowing black gown, with silver hair wrapped in an African headscarf, Phylicia slowly walked to the podium, commanding attention. She began, "I have lost a son," her voice trembling. The impact of those words broke everyone in the room. It wasn't rehearsed or polished, it was raw, human grief. She continued, recalling the very first day she met Malcolm, a teenager, already filled with quiet strength. She spoke of the many years they spent together, the personal conversations they had, and how they supported each other through life's challenges. Then, Phylicia's tone shifted. She leaned in, her voice soft but fierce. She shared how Malcolm had been in pain, something that many of his fans and colleagues had never known. "He carried burdens many of you will never understand. He smiled for the world, but he bled in silence," Phylicia said. The room grew heavy with understanding. It was clear that Malcolm had been battling something deeper than what anyone had seen. Phylicia then pulled out a folded piece of paper, which she said Malcolm had given her 2 weeks before his death. "He told me to read it if he ever left early," she revealed. The audience was on edge as she unfolded the note and began reading Malcolm's own words. "If I die before I wake, know that I tried. I tried to be more than a role, more than a face, more than what they expected of me. And if I ever inspired anyone, let it be because I loved without limits. And because I never stopped trying, even when I was tired." The room erupted in weeping as Phylicia finished reading. This private moment, captured on camera, went viral, with the world now understanding the true depth of the relationship between Phylicia and Malcolm. As Phylicia closed the letter, she placed it gently back in her pocket and added, "He was not just my TV son. He was my heart, my boy, and I will love him forever." The tribute didn't end there. Before the casket was closed, Phylicia walked up to Malcolm's body. She placed a single red rose in his hands, delicately wrapped in a gold ribbon. The crowd watched in silence as she whispered something in his ear, words no one could hear, but the look on her face spoke volumes. Some speculated she mouthed the words "I forgive you," igniting an online storm of questions. What did she mean? Was there an unresolved issue between them? Did it have to do with the pressures of his career, a private falling out, or perhaps something deeper? The final farewell was not just for Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the actor. It was for the man, the friend, the son, and the soul who had touched so many lives. Phylicia Rashad's tribute didn't just honor Malcolm's legacy, it revealed the unseen struggles of a man who gave so much but carried more pain than anyone could have imagined. The grief was overwhelming, but the love was palpable, and Phylicia's strength in sharing this emotional goodbye will be remembered for years to come. No one could have predicted how Phylicia Rashad would respond at Malcolm-Jamal Warner's funeral. The moment she stood up, her voice trembling, her eyes filled with grief, the room went silent. What she shared with the world shattered hearts, leaving fans in tears. And when she placed a rose on his casket and whispered a few final words, the entire internet erupted in speculation, with people worldwide now reflecting on the depth of their bond. This tribute wasn't just a farewell, it was a raw and emotional moment that gave fans a glimpse into the bond that had existed far beyond the cameras of The Cosby Show. Phylicia and Malcolm's connection went beyond their roles as mother and son on television. Their relationship off-screen was one of mentorship, support, and unconditional love. Throughout the years, fans admired the natural chemistry between Phylicia and Malcolm on the show, but few knew how much Phylicia meant to Malcolm behind the scenes. Known for her role as the sophisticated matriarch, Claire Huxtable, Phylicia was not just an actress to Malcolm, she was a guiding force. As a young man, Malcolm faced the pressure of growing up in the spotlight. According to insiders, it was Phylicia who kept him grounded, helping him navigate the complexities of fame and reminding him of his worth. During breaks on set, she would often walk with him, discussing everything from life lessons to the pressures of Hollywood, offering him the wisdom and support he needed. In a 2016 interview, Malcolm expressed the profound impact Phylicia had on him, saying, "If it weren't for Phylicia, I might have gotten lost in it all. She reminded me who I was outside of Theo." Those words, now resurfacing after his tragic passing, illustrate just how deep their connection ran. For Phylicia, Malcolm wasn't just a co-star, he was family. And that familial bond was clear to everyone who watched them interact. However, there was a deeper layer to their relationship that Phylicia had never shared publicly. In the days leading up to his passing, something happened that would haunt Phylicia for the rest of her life. On a quiet Wednesday evening, Phylicia's phone rang. It was Malcolm. His voice, usually strong and confident, now carried a sense of finality she couldn't place at first. "Phylicia," Malcolm said, his voice steady but cracking with emotion, "you've always been there for me. I just wanted to say thank you for being the one person who never let me forget who I am." Phylicia, startled, asked if everything was okay, but Malcolm didn't offer any explanation. Instead, he simply said, "I'm tired now, Mama P. I'm at peace." It was an emotional moment that sent chills down Phylicia's spine. She knew deep down that this was his way of saying goodbye. After the call ended, Phylicia tried reaching out again, but Malcolm didn't answer. The next 2 days were a blur of worry and sorrow, and then, the devastating news came. Malcolm had passed away unexpectedly. The cause of death was reported as a drowning incident, though the circumstances surrounding it have left many questions unanswered. But for Phylicia, what mattered most wasn't the cause of death, it was the final conversation they shared. It felt as though Malcolm had prepared her for his passing, speaking to her in a way that only he could. The haunting final voicemail Malcolm had left for Phylicia just days before also carried powerful words. Sources close to the family revealed that Phylicia played this message privately at the funeral. In it, Malcolm said, "If I leave this world tomorrow, I just want you to know your love made me a better man. You saved me." This heartfelt message never reached the public, but whispers from inside the family have now revealed the emotional truth of their connection. When Phylicia stood at the funeral to deliver her tribute, the air inside the chapel was thick with emotion. Everyone, from family and friends to celebrities and producers, gathered to honor the life and legacy of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Yet no one was prepared for how deeply Phylicia's words would cut through them. Dressed in a flowing black gown, her silver hair wrapped in a traditional African headscarf, Phylicia slowly rose from her seat, walked to the podium, and the room immediately fell silent. She stood there for a moment, gripping the podium, before speaking with a voice that trembled but held immense power. "I have lost a son," she said. That one line brought the room to tears. There was no script, no rehearsal, just raw grief that came from the deepest parts of her heart. Phylicia continued to share memories of Malcolm, recalling how he had walked onto the Cosby Show set as a young, quiet teenager. She described him as a man with an inner strength, someone who didn't need to dominate the room to be noticed. "He was always present," she said. "You felt him even without words." She shared their private moments, the holidays they spent together when Malcolm's family couldn't be around, and the heartfelt letters he wrote to her during difficult times. Then, her tone shifted. Phylicia leaned in, her voice soft but fierce, and revealed something no one expected her to say aloud. Malcolm was in pain. The room tensed. She spoke of how Malcolm had carried burdens that many never knew about. He smiled for the world, but he bled in silence, she explained. A viral video then surfaced, showing a never-before-seen clip from the Cosby Show set. The footage showed a young Malcolm, exhausted and vulnerable, sitting between takes. Phylicia approached him, placed her hands on his shoulders, and whispered, "You don't need to be perfect to be loved, baby. You just need to be real." Malcolm's response, "You're the only one who sees me," struck a chord with millions. It was a poignant reminder that even someone as composed and charismatic as Malcolm-Jamal Warner had silent struggles, and Phylicia was the one who always saw through the facade. This video, alongside Phylicia's emotional tribute, has since become a powerful symbol of love, vulnerability, and mental health awareness. It's a reminder to the world that behind every smile can lie deep, silent battles. And through it all, Phylicia Rashad's unwavering love for Malcolm-Jamal Warner is something fans will never forget. Phylicia's tribute was more than just a farewell. It became a call to action. A reminder to love each other more deeply and to see the people we care about, not just on the surface, but for who they truly are. In her words, "Malcolm was one of you, and he was extraordinary. So are you." These words have touched millions and inspired a movement.